Ever heard of changing an SQL file in your repository and having a database hot reload? Probably not. But this is exactly what we are doing in this video. So be prepared to make your head explode. And since I'm finally jobless, you should really make sure to grow this channel by subscribing and also putting yourself on my Supabase newsletter. And now, let's get crazy. Before we get started, there's one thing I want you to watch out for. Don't install this package locally, so don't do npm I whatever and then save as dev dependency. Because there are a few packages used in this CLI tool, which for example with Next.js might have conflicts, and you don't want to deal with conflicts, so you simply use npx and then the package name at Timm with a 1 and then srtd in it. So it will run it inside of your project, but as a global package. So now what can it do? Well, it will have created in your Supabase directory next to your migrations folder a migrations templates folder. Now let's start up my local Supabase first. I very obviously already ran npx supabase init because my Supabase folder exists. So now I run npx supabase start and I open the instance just to show you what's there. As you can see, there's no table whatsoever. Now let me show you something pretty insane. Run npx timm srtd watch. Now let's create a new migrations templates file, which is simply any SQL file. For example, user profiles. Okay, something happened here, but the SQL file is empty, so nothing will happen anyways. So now let's create a table in a so-called idempotent way. What does that mean? It sounds complicated, but really isn't. Idempotent only means that no matter how often I run it, it will always achieve the same result. So if you run a create table command and then run the create table command again, it is not the same result because the first time it will succeed and the second time it will not succeed because the second time the table already exists. So let's write one that always succeeds. Drop table if exists, user profiles, and let's make a simple sample here. Save that, and it says it applied it. Let's see. Haha, check this out. This is freaking crazy. Like, you literally have hot reload in your Supabase database. Let's go back. We know that we're dropping the table, so we have an idempotent file, which means we can just add another column. Say, for example, name and then text. Let's save that. Let's go back to Supabase. And there is the column. I get hyped about this, really, I do. That's insane. Really, thanks, Timm, by the way. Now you might ask, isn't this a disadvantage if I'm dropping the table? But really it isn't, because you're doing the migrations the proper way. So you're just writing SQL. So now you might ask, okay, but now what? Like, I got this migrations templates thing, but I actually want a real Supabase migration. Well, you use the migrations templates as long as you're developing, right? You're trying things out. You want to add another column, whatever, whatnot. You can obviously do the same thing with any kind of like idempotent command, like drop function if exists or whatever. But the thing is, how do I get this to an actual migration file now? Easy. Once you're done with developing, you run the CLI with build. And here we go, there's your migration file. But let me show you two more pretty cool things with this tool. Let's first run watch. Now, let's say I forgot to enable row level security and a proper policy. I create a new file, user profiles, RLS, but this time I use the suffix wip.sql. So in the first line, I enable row level security, and then I try to add a simple RLS policy. All right, let's check if that worked. Yep, we can see the policy. But what did the WIP suffix do? That's the work in progress suffix. That means when I now run the build command, it will skip the user profiles one because that's already built, But it will also skip the work in progress one because that's work in progress. And that's really cool because you can check it in. So you can commit it to your repository, let the pipeline run, not be affected by it, come back tomorrow and continue working on it. Once you're done with it, you can run the remote command, pass the name of the work in progress file. You could obviously also rename it and then run build. And here we go. If that is not crazy cool, I can't help you.